It is time to rank some rookie running backs for the 2023 NFL draft class. We do this once a week. I always add a couple running backs to the mix. We hash them out, we throw them into tiers, and we talk about these players. If anything, it's just a good excuse to talk some ball, especially on the bottom rung guys, to give them a spotlight and give me an opportunity to go over these players, rehash these players out once a week. Makes me check out the tape a little bit more, the numbers a little bit more. But this is something we always do here. If you're into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Nobody else in the YouTube game has dropped more content than me. No one's stacking up to that. People are watching this channel so they can figure out their ranks, figure out their ideas on these players. So you might as well subscribe, follow along for the rest of the off season or in season as well. That way you got what everyone else is trying to get. But let's go ahead and jump into this. We're going to rank by tiers like we always do, because this is how we like to do it. We're going to do S, A, B, C, D here in the tiers. Ain't splitting up too much. We got 3 new guys in the mix. Usually the new guys go in the bottom. That's just how it is. But starting off with S, we already know it, so we're not going to talk too much about him. It's Bijan Robinson. Bijan's going to Bijan. Catches the ball in the backfield. Catches the ball downfield. He's explosive. Good production. Good advanced metrics. He's the RB1 in startup draft ADP. You just can't get much higher than that. We've not had a rookie running back at this stage of draft season, the RB1 in startup draft ADP. It's just never happened before. Not with Saquon, not with Todd Gurley, not with any other running back. We didn't have startup ADP when Adrian Peterson was coming out. We didn't have that with Barry Sanders. This is the first one here. That's Bijan Robinson. That counts for something. And market matters. In Dynasty, the market sure as hell does matter, especially if it's active in your league. Bijan Robinson, from a value perspective, even at that, is super special. You don't get that too often. You don't even get that once every 10 years. It's the first time it happened. RB1 in February 16th. That's when the ADP numbers came out. We did a whole video on that. It's just like 2 days ago. Check that out if you want to see that, where he fell in ADP. 5th overall. Coming in tier A, we got a lot of guys here, but you know what's a damn good class. Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet, Sean Tucker, Zach Evans. So the thing about tier A here, and these tiers, it's not like they're necessarily ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the tier. They're kind of a mixed bag. And the reason why is I'm very objective. I'm almost too objective for myself. And it's great for you guys because I'll talk in circles and you'll get the information. Reason why I like Jahmyr Gibbs, about damn sure he'll get good draft capital. High end second round, maybe back in first round. Zach Charbonnet was in B tier for a bit. I've pumped him up. I feel good he's getting decent draft capital. Big running back. High-end 4-star recruit coming out of high school. Catches the ball in the backfield. Really proved that last year or this year, whatever you want to call it. Productive at Michigan. Freshman season, double-digit touchdowns. The first freshman running back to ever do it. I feel like I have to say that every video. Also, just transitioned quick to UCLA. Transitioned quick to Michigan. Transitioned quick to UCLA, which is an indicator that he should transition quick to an NFL game that adds value to him. Sean Tucker. He's shown a lot in his career. That's the one thing. He showed that he's very multifaceted. 2 years ago, I think 2021 season, one of the top running backs in production in college football. I think about 1,800 yards rushing or so, if I remember right, and was putting up highlights every week. You couldn't get enough Sean Tucker. People blew him up in the rankings. Now people are very acquisitive this offseason. But in 2022, he showed you some new stuff in his game. He was splitting out wide, splitting out in the slot more, getting more targets downfield. Average depth of target of over 2. Anything over 0 is good. And he was over 2 in average depth of target. Probably would have had more catches if he had better quarterback play. Good volume in the passing game. This guy's getting you good yards after the catch per reception, well over 10. And this is a guy that can be productive in the passing game, and he's proving to be productive in the run game as well. I look for him to weigh in somewhere 210, 215, somewhere around that, and I look for him to do well at the combine. I look for him to run well One, he's a track guy, and then he tried to run track over at Syracuse. It did like one race, and he did well. He was like middle of the pack or something like that, like 13 out of 26 or something like that, but he just showed up, did it, and then moved on. It wasn't like he stayed with the team and practiced forever. That's from what I gathered from the article I read from Sports Illustrated like 3 months ago. So that's something with Sean Tucker you got to think about. This guy's got speed. He showed that on tape. A lot of home run hitting plays on his tape. He's from Syracuse, not a big time school, but again, home run hitter. Catches the ball in the backfield. Big time production. Zach Evans. We went over his recruiting profile. Kind of extensively, kind of not. But it was crazy. He only has 37 pass blocking snaps to his name in 3 years with 2 different collegiate programs. Pass blocking might be an issue. I can pretty much say it is, but I can't because it'd be malpractice to say it is because he didn't have the sample size to prove it. But that is an indicator that he might be in the wrong spot at the wrong time and could be a liability, or they just throw him out in the routes, throw him passes instead. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. However, I love the athleticism. I love what I see on the highlights. This guy's got athleticism for days, size-adjusted speed. This guy was a big 5-star recruit coming out of high school, and everybody in college football wanted him. All those programs wanted him, and it was a lengthy process. He led a lot of schools on, probably like 15 to 20 schools, and then he just randomly, out of blue, chose TCU. If he didn't get injured that second year, he would have had a mega year. That's probably what's biting him in the ass right now with some people, is because he didn't have that big year. It feels incomplete. It makes sense, but he transferred out as well right after. Went to Ole Miss here. Played second fiddle there, though. Quinton Judkins played second fiddle there. However, he was productive. Looked good. Had some highlights. So explosive that if he gets the opportunity, which he probably get the draft capital, that he is going to show up. If he gets the opportunity, he's going to show up. That's about it. If he gets the ball in his hands, it's going to be dangerous. Going to Tier B here. Interesting running back class. Got some good guys here that I want to talk about. Hank Bigsby. This guy lays the hammer. Former 4-star recruits. Playing behind a bad offensive line at Auburn. But was still getting it done. I wish he was more productive. But I understand. Tough SEC competition. Putrid offensive line in front of him. He's got some highlights. Moves well. Burst. Explosive. Runs with a lot of power. I like Tank Bigsby a lot. And I feel like he can compete with these guys. Especially if he gets that draft capital. But we're going to keep him in B tier. Just in case. Kendre Miller. Woo! 220-pound running back. He's got speed. Can blow it up in the second level. Them highlights, man. Them highlights. He got a lot of talk right when the season ended in college football, but things are dying down now because there's so many running backs. Like, I'm in love with these running backs this year. I'm in love with a lot of them. I don't have many I don't like. That's the problem with this class. I can't even find a guy that I'm hitching my wagon to. I can't even find it. I like so many of these running backs. Kendre Miller, man, he's got some explosiveness. He's got the size. With all these running backs in this class, he's probably going to be a good value for an NFL team. He's a player to keep an eye on for sure. Draft capital is going to be interesting just due to dilution of the position. This is the inflationary scenario here. So many good runners in this class, and I'm not even joking. We're got a lot more running backs to rank here, and there's not really a bad one to talk about. Izzy, Abakanada, Abracadabra, Israel. I like to call him Izzy because Israel Adesanya, one of my favorite fighters, and you get called Izzy. But again, this guy's got burst speed. Blew up this season. Had some big games this season. Ecstatic games. This guy went off this year. I feel like the draft capital is actually going to flirt with C and D tier draft capital, honestly. But I think whoever gets him is going to get a player and get a player they can use on all 3 downs. Not that much volume in the passing game, but The yards after contact, the explosiveness, the burst indicates he can get you good yards after the catch for reception, which could trickle down to volume with a quarterback that likes to check it down. He can be on the field. He can be running between tackles. Even if he gets day 3 draft capital, you're going to have to watch out for him. Take a discount anyways. Pay up for it. Do whatever you want. I think some day 3 guys are going to hit. There's going to be a few day 3 guys that are going to hit from this group. There's going to be a few of them, probably a handful. 4th round is going to be important this year. That might be where Izzy goes. Who knows? I've seen him going 5th round in some mocks. Usually those PFF mocks, though, so it could be just from weird grades. We'll see what the NFL teams think of him. I think he's a damn good player, and I think he's going to give you some upside. Devin Achane. Gadget running back, you could say. Whoever drafts him is going to plan to use him. They're going to draft him with decent draft capital because he is a piece that can really add some dynamic to your offense. After that, touch distribution, volume is going to be a question. It is. But he's got that speed. Right situation, he could be the right guy for you. The thing is, I'm kind of low on him. Some of you guys watching this think I'm kind of high. I'm kind of in the middle. Because there are some dudes that have him up here. Like here. Thing is, it's like 185. But on top of that, where you can throw him anywhere in this tier, I don't really care. I like all these guys. Think about that. He is probably going to get decent draft capital. You're getting a lot of buzz of that. Should be using the passing game. He's electric. Going to get you those splash plays. Devin Achane should at least be recognized. I don't think, due to his size, he should be in C or D tier. I think draft capital, his electricity, should allow you to flirt with some of these top guys here. And the thing about this, B tier here. Any other draft class, these guys are flirting with the first round of rookie drafts. These guys definitely are. In any other draft class, these guys would have a little bump in their draft capital as well. However, we got these hosses here in A. We got this huge hoss at S. Well, some hosses in C and D that could rise above them in draft capital. That's what I'm talking about with a deep running back class like this. You're getting some players that's going to shift kind of weird because NFL teams will see these running backs in the second round. They'll be like, well, shit, there's still 15 more running backs. Might as well pick up this tackle, this D tackle, this 5 tech, whatever, and then just wait on the position. And then I'll just grab a good running back in the 4th round. I'll get one in the 4th round, 6th round. We'll see what happens. We'll get a better margin out of that. And you know what? It's not a bad choice because it's a good draft to do that in. That's something you got to think. And enough teams do that, some of these players will fall a little bit. They may fall 10 spots more than they should. 15, 5. It just depends on what the market does in the draft. One thing that does go for these running backs, which might make things weird, there's a lot of rumors going around, a lot of talk by big media, is that this draft isn't strong altogether. And if that's the thing, that could allow some of these running backs to shoot up the board because you could be in like the 4th round, 3rd round. You got a running back there you like. All of a sudden, some of these positions of need are picked through. You don't care about the other ones. You may pull the trigger on, let's say, like a Devin Achane, Izzy, or whatever back's there. Just throw in name. That could happen as well, and they get bumped up spots. It could be one way, it could be the other way, but it's going to be weird this season because we have so many damn running backs, and we're really going to have to play hard on that running back profile. Another running back here in Tier B, the last one, Kenny McIntosh. It's pretty much similar to last week. Kenny McIntosh, draft capital is going to matter. Him and Devin Achane's very similar. I look at Kenny McIntosh as like the Rashad White of this class, but better, actually. He's more explosive, better recruiting profile coming out of high school, playing at Georgia, the RBU, former RBU, or whatever you want to call it. Very electric, home run hitter, and a guy that if he gets used in the passing game, all it takes is a couple touches, and he's got you a good fantasy scoring week, and he's going to give you good draft capital in rookie drafts. You're going to eat these running backs up. The thing about me, the problem with following me, and I'll shoot you guys straight. That's the thing about this. The problem with following me right now in 2023 is that I like all these running backs, and I'm not really like hating anybody. I don't hate anybody. I think that's more due to my objective nature, and that's a cool, because you're just going to get the goods and information really from me. I talk in circles, and you just take the information and run with it. So I think that's cool in its own right. But Rashawn Johnson, man, guy left Senior Bowl and still built his draft capital. Dude is big, limber, quick, smooth. Imagine how high his draft stock would be if it wasn't for this guy. He's a former quarterback, so he's cerebral. Not just a former quarterback, but a decent caliber recruit. So not too bad there. Did I mention he's a good size? He could be a 3-down thumper. He could be a discounted 3-down thumper that an NFL team gets. And he might work his way up the depth chart pretty quick. Since I'm projecting that he's pretty cerebral, considering he's a high caliber 4-star recruit playing quarterback. That's very interesting to me. The fact that when we watch him on tape, he's nimble and he can smash you is a big deal here. And a lot of people are talking him up. Let's go to Chase Brown here from Illinois. Dude was productive. Dude had high-end production. Decent size. Catch the ball in the backfield a little bit. Had some big games this year. And was steady. Really kept the Illini up there. Illini was ranked a good bit this year. They were ranked. He did well against Michigan. Did well against some good teams. Had a good season. And he's going to be a cheap running back that could give you some boom. A good depth guy with some upside. A guy you're going to be looking at in the third round of rookie drafts. Maybe higher if he goes in the right spot. Gets the right draft capital. You never know. And Tajay Spears from the Senior Bowl. Even before that bowl game against USC went off. What was it? 3-4 touchdowns? Explosive. He's a little narrow. He's a little thin. But you don't have to be a 220-pound thumper to be relevant in fantasy football. You don't even have to be full-time. You can have 2 running backs deliver production, maybe off and on. You know what? That's enough. Not all these running backs are going to hit. We got a lot of good ones. There's a lottery ticket. Lottery tickets of good running backs, which is something you want to see. He was productive in his own right. He's got athleticism in his own right. You know he can run routes. You know he can spring it after the catch. It's a good running back. I mean, you can't really hate on that. We got the new guys. I'm going to bring in the new guys in here. We're going to talk about Deuce Vaughn. I do not know where to put him. The thing about him is he's productive. He catches the ball in the backfield. I think he started off as like a freshman with over a 20% market share of Kansas State's passing production. Very astute in the passing game. So what you like about these running backs, if they can be productive in the passing game, really helps you in PPR. Draft capital is going to be interesting, but he's like 5'6", 5'7", 175-ish pounds, somewhere around there. So it's not like he's super thin. He's stocky. Got like a Darren Sproles to him. A lot like Darren Sproles with how he's using the passing game, how he can get you yards after contact and after the catch. His best year, he had like 6 yards per attempt. But his role in the passing game, him being a good satellite back, is interesting, which could happen. Could very much happen. The next guy here, I'm going to just throw him in D. D is really like a B tier in most years anyways. Dwayne McBride. And if you're in D tier, doesn't mean I don't like you. That's the thing. I like Dwayne McBride. Had some production this year, some size to him. Dude's got some good contact balance. Can really spin off blocks. And he's another guy that can work his way up a depth chart and be productive. This is going to be a big lottery ticket draft here. Probably from B, C, and D tier-ish. And some of these guys are going to hit, and a couple of them won't. But Dwayne McBride here, I can see the pathway for him. And that's just being a pounder. That's just being used in the passing game. Being proficient at pass blocking. Just being power guy. Good contact balance. Just being aggressive. Being assertive. Just in those realms. Eric Gray here. He's old. He's an older running back. But when he was at Tennessee, people were talking him up as if he's going to be another under-the-radar gem in the draft. Then he went to Oklahoma, and people were excited about it. And then Oklahoma was kind of weird. Spencer Rattler went kind of weird and all that stuff. We thought he was going to come out for the draft last year. And he was pegged as one of those top under-the-radar guys coming out for the draft last year. But he didn't come out. Now he's coming out. People aren't thinking about him too much. I think people are looking at the age. And there's so many running backs here that washes out a guy like Eric Gray. The thing about Eric Gray, though, very smooth. Very good lateral agility. He's got some time in the college game. He's a good back, though. He's a good back. He's a good back at a discount. He could work his way up the depth chart as well. The thing about him is he has been pronounced a couple of times as a contending draft prospect. Not top, but contending, I would say that. And he does have the chops to do that. He runs well, elusive, a fun back to watch. Coming here to Evan Hall. Big running back, catches the ball out of the backfield. Had some moments last year. Had some moments where he was taking over. I feel like he's going to be a late round guy. Might surprise him 5th roundish, 4th roundish at the highest. Probably going to be 6th, somewhere around there. Draft capital is going to matter for a guy like that. Northwestern, not really the most prominent school. Something to look at. Muhammad Ibrahim. Last guy we're going to talk about today. Older running back. Older for a reason. Tore his Achilles, came back this year. Had a monster year. One of the few guys who will tear his Achilles, come back and be a monster, like right off the rip. Good thing to note. Guys who come back from major injuries and are very successful off the rip tend to be good players. There's just something about them that sets them apart. Something I've noticed throughout the years. Muhammad Ibrahim did that. Very productive. 100 yards in almost every game last year. And he was very productive prior. I felt like he's been at Minnesota for 20 years and has been posting 1,000-yard seasons every year. But he has been productive. A guy, before that injury for last year's class, was pegged at as a good draft candidate. And now you're going to catch him this year at a discount due to him being an older back, bigger back, more of a plotting back, but it's fine. A back that can be productive, that can be a good workhorse for you. It could climb a depth chart as well. And another guy to be on your radar. And the D tier's solid. D tier's got some solid guys. C tier's pretty solid. Deuce Vaughn's very interesting. I like to see where he goes. I don't want to mess with B tier at all. The thing about B tier, I look at Izzy, and he could be drafted below some of the guys in C tier. Probably mixed in with D tier, or it could be higher. Kendre Miller, I think, should be steady on draft capital. Kenny McIntosh, Devin Achane, Tank Bigsby. Izzy, you see him go lower in mocks, but he could surprise you probably early 3rd round or so. He has good tape. Tape's good. I love him. That's why I got him up there. I love him. I love Sean Tucker, one of my guys. Zach Charbonnet has been one of my guys since he's been in high school. Jameer Gibbs is a guy I got videos of since he's been in Georgia Tech on the channel from a couple years ago. Everybody loves Bijan. From D tier, keep an eye out on Eric Gray, Muhammad Ibrahim. Tajay Spears is going to be interesting. Chase Brown's got that production. Rashawn Johnson, size, elusiveness. I think a lot of people like him. I think he might get drafted higher than what you think he gets drafted. So that's another player to look at. And this is going to be a trick bag draft at the running back position with a lot of good running backs. And I love this running back class. I really do. I think we got a lot of good ones here. And you guys need to really watch these running backs. And I'm going to have more for you added to this list next week. They're not forgotten. They're not. And they're not being slept on or anything like that. And they're not in E tier. They're not in Z tier. They'll be up there. They'll be up there. I'm going to add a tier and mix some guys around just to talk about. But I got more coming at you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Got a lot coming at you to help you out with your rookie drafts and everything else. I want to thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.